So welcome to the call, everybody. This is not Transform. This is Tips and Tools Tuesday, third Tuesday of the month. Excited about the call tonight because I think this is one that we could do 100 times and it wouldn't be enough, right? And so what we're going to be talking about, and I just got off of a call with a partner who was doing what she calls a curiosity call. I call it an exploration call, somebody looking at possibly doing the business. And what do you think was the first thing she said? I don't want to be a salesman. I can't sell things. And then she went on to say, and everybody these days is selling something. You can't go on Instagram. You can't go anywhere without somebody asking you to come to a party, come to an event on the Zoom call, come to somewhere. And so where I want to start tonight, and I think this is just really key, and I know, Sandy, you've experienced this too with people saying, I can't sell, I don't want to, whatever. But the first place I really want to start tonight, and I want to ask you, and I'm hoping to get answers. And so if you've got an answer, just unmute yourself and let us know. The question is, what are your fixed beliefs about salespeople? Now, sometimes, a lot of times we think, oh, I don't really have any. I believe sales are great. I love selling Juice Plus. But even the people that say that have some fixed beliefs or experiences about sales that tend to be more negative than positive. So would anybody be willing to share their fixed belief about sales?
Pushy.
Okay, so think
Pushy.
about that. So one is pushy. What else?
Sleazy.
Sleazy. Ooh, that's even worse than pushy. What else?
Something that's
And I'm asking for your fixed beliefs, not the things you've heard from other people.
Yeah.
Your personally fixed belief about sales.
I honestly just think of car sales guys, and the word sleazy just comes straight into my mind.
Okay, great. I mean, or not great. We'll see.
unknowledgeable.
Unknowledgeable.
Annoying.
Annoying.
That's a good one. I
What's
was going
that?
to say, I said, that's a good one, annoying. I was going to say, untrustworthy.
Untrustworthy.
Can I jump in? Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to say I have a weird mixed belief because I think salespeople are here for a reason. Salespeople, like it doesn't bother me, maybe because I was in sales.
Yeah.
Secondly, on the other side of the coin is the feeling of somebody selling to my friend. There's something about friend to friend that makes I have a little bit of judgment about that, and I'm not exactly sure what it is, but it's something about maybe not feeling confident about that issue.
Okay. So for you, the fixed belief about selling also has to do with circumstance.
Yes.
Okay. And I love the way Beth said the mixed beliefs, because one thing that you could say about sales is if it is a trustworthy, reliable people like we are, and you believe that everybody should have your product without a doubt, which I do, then you can still feel like that and still have a fixed belief that gets in your way of being actually able to offer Juice Plus to anyone or everyone you meet. Sandy, did you want to add anything to that?
Well, yes, I'll say that I was in ministry. And for me, sales was opposite. It was taking from someone rather than serving and giving them. And I really had to do a lot of work to get over that one, because that was huge. And it wasn't even conscious. It was unconscious. But that was probably my biggest now. And still do I care more about the person to make it about them instead of am I just taking?
Right. Well, that's a big one, taking. And it's so interesting. Somebody called me the other day, and it was somebody I probably haven't talked to in over a year. I used to go to her as a massage therapist. She was really great. And she's very, very faith-based. And she called me out of the blue. And I thought, well, that's interesting. And the call was to get me to go to her website to look at her religious stuff. But it was so interesting because she is so in love with her faith I could hear it. She wasn't calling me to sell me her faith. She was calling me because she really believed this would be something really good for me. And I could hear it. I could hear it in her voice. I could hear her love for what she was talking about. And I don't know if I've ever heard that kind of real love, like enthusiasm. And I really feel like we in Juice Plus feel that same way. We love our Juice Plus, but what's holding us back from showing that love? I just felt like she was loving all over me. I knew what she was doing. She was really trying to get me to look at her religion and to change my mind. But what I heard from her was love. That's what I heard. It was really interesting to have that experience.
It's
Um,
interesting that you're talking about how some of our stuff, our own feelings get into the way because I think it was Kim, I'm not sure who was talking, who said the mixed beliefs. I got into sales real early and I learned that, yes, the attitude of most people think of sales of what everybody just said, the car salesman, the sleazy one. I look at salespeople now and they're very persistent. The phone calls and things like that. But I realize that we are all salespeople, and so I try to tell everybody we are. When I was teaching teenagers, I said, "You're going to be a salesperson," and they're like, "No, I don't want to." And they are already as teenagers, and I said, "Do you want to borrow your mom and dad's car?" And I would put the sales techniques in their minds of how to do that. Don't do it for your purposes. You got to figure out how to tell your parents why it's such a great idea for you to borrow the car and do this. And so I was telling them they're selling when they're kids. And so my attitude is that we're all salespeople. We just don't even realize it. It's just how you approach it. So it's going to be interesting to hear how some of my background is not going to, maybe it's stopping me.
Well, what's interesting is that I agree with you, first of all, 100%, Donna. It's like I always want to say when somebody says they're not a good salesperson, I always like to ask them, who sold you that idea? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, we are all salesmen. And it doesn't mean that when you're selling, you're trading money for time or money for an object or whatever. But in some ways, we're selling our ideas, we're selling how we feel. We just don't think about it. But when we think about our product, it's if we go back to if our belief is any one of these things, pushy, sleazy, unknowledgeable, that's a real, I haven't heard anybody say that. That's really interesting. Annoying, untrustworthy. And then there's the mixed belief of it's necessary. Someone's offering me a service, and yet in certain circumstances, it doesn't feel quite right. So it doesn't matter if any of that is true or not. But if you believe it to be so, then it's true for you. And if it's true for you, like Heidi, you said, the first thing that comes up for you is yucky car salesperson. So is there some place, in your consciousness when you go to offer Juice Plus that, your saboteur, the piece of us that's the judge and that plays sabotage in our brain, there's a part that actually stops you from, and it goes, car salesman, car salesman, car salesman. I mean, is that possible? Because you wouldn't hear the voice. But that was a belief.
I don't think so.
Yeah, but
I
why did you
feel
come
like
up
the
with that
passion
belief
comes
then?
through.
Pardon?
I feel like my passion comes through. I don't feel.
Oh, I'm not saying your passion's not coming through, but do you feel that you offer in any given moment to sell Juice Plus? Do you do that?
No,
Or
I
do
don't
you
think
sometimes-
so. I feel because I literally have an image of a car salesman. Like, I'm not going to be negotiating with, do you know what I mean? I'm not going to be doing that sleazy negotiation. I guess that's what.
But if there's a piece of your brain that when the word sales comes up, if there's a piece of your brain that says car salesman, it's not that you're not being authentic. It's not that you don't even hear the voice. It's the saboteur that's hidden behind the thing that keeps us from moving forward. Because does that person perceive me as that? We've got these mirror neurons, and whatever we're thinking and we're believing, whether we in the moment really, even if it's hidden, it somehow is there. Sandy, were you going to say something? It looks like you're No, okay.
This is
Nikki,
so
can I
good.
comment on something?
Yeah,
If
yeah.
no, okay. So, so here's what I think, and here's how I think it affects me is when, um, my beliefs, like with salespeople, it's all about how they're treating me. And if I see the typical approaches and they don't respond to my answers and they're not identifying with me and respecting me, then they're done. If they
Yes.
if I can't flow with them at all, they're done. So the reason I mention that is number one is it's a little bit different perspective than what a lot of people have with salespeople, and it's probably because of the experiences that I've had in my life and all the things that I've done. But to more to the point of what you're getting at is I think that sometimes I'm very set with wanting people to feel my authenticity. And so I think that sometimes our strengths can be a weakness, and sometimes I get too concerned about that instead of just being transparent. So I'm kind of, if I'm understanding what you're asking, that's my response.
That's exactly what I'm asking, Lisa. How does our beliefs affect how we present it? Are we
Yeah.
really making sure that we don't appear to be sleazy or we don't appear to be pushy? And in the not appearing to be those things, we're not actually authentic to ourselves. And I'll just give you, Sandy, do you want to say something?
I was just going to say, one of the things that we've been learning in our coaching program is that you don't attract what you want. You attract who you are. So if you've got, and Nikki called them mirror neurons, if you've got a stigma about something having to do with sales, even not wanting to come across, inauthentic, that can attract more people like that. I'll give you a great example. I did think Juice Plus was too expensive. Not for me, because I was in such a bad shape. I needed it, so I bought it. But I still had that little bit of a stigma. I attracted people who thought it was expensive. The more it did for me, the more I realized, oh my gosh, this is the best deal in the whole world. Are you kidding me? Even with the superfood, are you kidding me? For $2.92, we can get 30 different plants that taste great. It's the best deal. I don't run across anyone
I-
that at least is bold enough to say it to my face.
Yeah, I don't either, Sandy. And I never did think it was expensive. And I, even from the beginning, I very, very really heard it's too expensive because they do pick up on that. There's something there. And Elisa, you really named it really well. There's just that piece that's back there. So if you can clearly know that you do have a belief about sales, then what are some ways for you to shift that so you can stop having that belief get in the way of the way in which you present Juice Plus? And I'll be honest with you, I have one of my beliefs that I have, this is a really hard one for me to get over, is that when I meet a new person and I think that they're going to be a good friend, like I really, really like them, I don't want to tell them about Juice Plus because if they say no, I'm going to have to think they're stupid. And it's a new friend that I really like. And I'm not going to like them if they're stupid because I don't have stupid friends. Is that the craziest thing ever? But in the back of my head, it's like, if they say no, I'm going to think they're an idiot. After I've presented all the things that we know about Juice Plus, how could they possibly say no? They mustn't be very smart. And I don't want a not very smart friend, so I don't tell them. So I'll give you an example of one recently like that. I was really close with her for almost, I don't know, 6 months. She barely even knew what I did. And I finally told her what I do. And I did send her a video and I did show her some information. And then I followed up a little bit, but not really. And then I found myself waking up every morning thinking about this couple. She has arthritis and is in pain, and he has Parkinson's. And every morning I would wake up thinking, I know Juice Plus will make a difference for this couple, and I still haven't pushed it. I still haven't really sat down and had the conversation. So we finally went out to breakfast, and this is just the completely authentic piece where I didn't feel like I had to earn her trust or do anything remarkable. I simply said, Elizabeth, I'm waking up every morning thinking about you and your husband. And I just feel like Juice Plus could really make a difference. So we have 3 choices this morning. At breakfast. I said, 1, you can tell me you're not interested. 2, you can ask me for more information, or you can say yes, 3 on the spot. But we have to do one of those things so I can move forward. It was not about her. It was all about me because I just felt horrible. And she said, let's get started. And so it was me being authentic. It was not me selling. It was me telling her how I felt. And she heard me. So, so the way in which that background is that we feel about sales, even though we may not feel that about us and about Juice Plus, if you have a little anything that's a stickler that's keeping you around sales, it's something that you really have to get rid of. So,
Yeah, I have a question about
yeah,
that because
yeah.
for me personally, I don't have that feeling about sleaziness with any other sales. It's only
Okay.
car salesmen. So I
Okay.
really don't see how that could impact me with I'd love to hear more about that.
Well, I could be wrong on this, but I think sales are still in our brain. Is our brain that distinctive to know it's just car sales? It could be translating as sales somehow. My question would really be, do you ever find yourself not offering Juice Plus or not closing, not trying to get them to either say yes or no? Do you find yourself avoiding that ever? Because if
No,
you're
I'm
avoiding
pretty
that,
good with follow-up.
okay, if you're avoiding but when you say follow up, it's how are you doing? What do you think? How do you feel? Are you saying, are you ready to get started?
Yes, I am
Okay,
saying.
because if you are, then you're not avoiding it. If you're
Yeah,
not
no, I
avoiding,
have no fear of asking that
okay,
question.
if you're not avoiding saying, are you ready to get started, or is now the time, or what credit card would you like to use? If you're
And I
not,
do those 3 things. I'm curious where you're at right now.
yeah,
Do you need any more information? Are you, I'd love to hear your feedback. Are you ready to get started? Which, I just did that actually
okay.
today with the business and the product.
Great. So then if you never find yourself avoiding it, then you've gotten rid of that hiccup. That's my belief. If you're offering, all of the time and you're not avoiding it, it's the avoiding piece. You don't offer it all the time because sometimes you feel like it's not the right time. You don't have to offer it every single time you talk to somebody. But if you find yourself avoiding offering it, which I was doing with these friends, and I was avoiding it because I didn't want her to say no, because I didn't want her to be stupid. And she said, yes, thank goodness. But that was holding me back.
The elephant in the room.
My belief there. So if you're avoiding it, that's the question. So I think the number one way that you get rid of that hiccup, we'll call it, and I want to hear from you all, most of you tonight, at least one 30-second quick story of a testimony of one of your customers. I'd like everybody here to hear a testimony. So is there anybody here that avoids asking, are you ready to get started? Nancy, do you ever avoid that? Yeah, I bet. Yeah. So
Yes, I do.
Okay. So do you have a story from one of your people that did get on Juice Plus that told you what they liked about it? Do you have a story that you can share? It doesn't have to be great. It can be somebody that is on the product, been on the product for a while, and they love it. And what do they love about it? What's their story, Nancy?
Well, actually, I have one customer who she says, I really don't notice any difference, but I know that it's good for me.
Okay.
She said, I know it's making a difference in me, but I can't tell a difference myself.
How many of you understand how powerful that story is? That person understands prevention. And we do get people that are on. I have somebody that's been on Juice Plus for 29 years. He says he still doesn't notice anything. The funny thing about not noticing anything is I say, well, how often do you get sick? He goes, I never get sick. I said, well, I don't know if you've noticed that. I just a thought. Anybody have a story from a customer where they are on Juice Plus and they have a specific thing they've noticed? Anybody would share that? Yeah, Kristen.
Yeah, so I am doing nutrition counseling with a couple and I was on the phone last night with them and they're not, obviously not eating enough fruits and vegetables. And I said, that's why I take plant powders, every day. But when I'm doing nutrition counseling, I'm trying to get the client to come up with their own sort of things. And so I didn't like say, so I think you guys should get on this. And I go, because, and I said, I use the one I use because it is researched and I'm a dietitian. So I want research things. And this one gives 30 different fruits, veggies, and berries. And I just basically, in a couple sentences, told him what it was. And he goes, so why wouldn't we start that? And they ended up they ordered 2 orders of
Superfood.
superfoods powders
Superfood.
last night. And it's
So-
not actually it's one of my partners. I give all those clients, it's not they're not my
That's
customers,
okay.
but
Let me
I
ask,
benefit from them.
do you
Yeah.
have any testimonies from people who have taken Juice Plus and noticed something? Kristen?
Do I have testimonies from people that have noticed? A lot of my clients say they do not notice anything. I'm trying to think of someone that,
one.
I mean, I personally have, that's why
All right, what is your testimony?
yeah, so my testimony is for 43 years, I never went a day without medication for an autoimmune disease. And after taking Juice Plus for a year, it was the first time in 43 years I didn't take medication every day, and I won't say that I don't need it at all, but I've probably cut down about 75% of the medication that I
Wow.
have needed. That's my big testimony. And it's the height of allergy season. I'm sitting outside. I used to take a nose spray, a pill, and eye drops every single day all year round, and I haven't had allergy medicine for I don't even remember the last time I took allergy medicine.
Right.
So those are my personal testimonies.
Okay, great. I'm looking for, thank you so much, Kristen, for both stories. I'm looking for, I know Terry, you said you had one, Beth has one, Heidi one. I
I
want
have
to hear testimonies from your customers. So Beth, do you have one to share?
Yes, I just have a new customer / partner, and she called me. She's been on the product for maybe 2 weeks, and she said, Beth, I'm work at home, and I've gotten into this habit of after I eat, I have to have something sweet, and it can be, a small bite or a big mess. And she goes, and that's why I'm fat. So she said, what is great is after I started taking Juice Plus, I noticed I'm not craving sugar. I'm not craving that every night. And I haven't for the last 2. I thought it was just a one-off situation, but I've noticed it every single day.
Wow.
And I said, you know what? I have heard people share that. And that wasn't my experience exactly, but I know that people have that experience. I
Me
said, that's the kind of thing that you can share with other people and tell them all about that, tell them that your experience about this. And so she's
Right.
been doing that.
Thank you. And Heidi, what does your customer let you know?
So my customer actually sent me a message on Messenger. She was a capsule customer and then did a 120 order of the superfoods. And she says, hey, Heidi, I hope you're doing well. I just wanted to reach out and let you know that Juice Plus has really helped my stomach issues so much. And by adding in the superfoods recently, I can already feel an even bigger difference. And it tastes great too. It reminds me of a drink from my childhood. Kind of tastes like a cherry little hug, but we called them Huggies. Anyway, it's super tasty.
Like, is that not so much fun? Terry Spencer, you said you have a customer that has let you know something. Tell us what that is.
Yeah, so my aunt, we had gotten her on I think it was the Trio a while back, and she was having issues with that. So we started her on the Omegas, and she called me up, or actually texted me one day and said, you know what I noticed, nephew, is that I would always get these cold sores on her lip. And she said she noticed that they were not as big as they were before, and they didn't come as often. So that was a pretty good testimony that she had for that.
Yeah, that's great. And then Donna, you said you've got one.
Yeah, just from yesterday doing a three-way call with Sandy, I learned from one of my old time customers. She's because of financial, she's kind of done the back and forth with the Juice Plus. She was on Juice Plus for lots of years, did even the complete shakes, but she pulls off of that because of the money. But she stayed on the omegas. She has one of those high cholesterols because of her genes, and she knows it's no good to go on any of the statins, and she's told the doctors, no way am I doing that. And she said that by being on our omegas, it actually she noticed a difference in the cholesterol. And
Right.
that I had no idea.
Yeah.
No idea.
That's fantastic. That's great. Holly, you said you have a customer. I'd love to hear what you've got.
I do. I was talking to a friend and her husband. She said, "What's up with these farm boys? They're just meat and potatoes, meat and potatoes." Well, he was on like 2 or 3 different blood pressure medications for really out of control blood pressure. And after he went on Juice Plus, at work he'd start getting dizzy. And it turned out his blood pressure was dropping. So they started weaning him down off. And now he's on half a dose of one blood pressure medication instead of like 2 full doses or, 2 different medications. And it
Wow.
was just phenomenal.
Wow.
And last time I talked to him, he goes, "Holly, I take it every day."
Yeah, that would make
Yeah.
sense. Alita, you've got a customer story.
Oh my gosh, I have so many customer stories.
Me too.
I wanted to really circle back to what you said, Nikki, because I thought your question you were going to ask all of us was, have you ever been stumped about not wanting to say something? And then how did you navigate going through it? But you facing her and talking to her with that concern in your eyes. When you have people like that, you have to be in front of them.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to. You can't text it. You
No.
can't email it. You have to be belly to belly, like Jay used to say.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I have so many customers. I have my housekeeper's son got burnt 70% of his body playing with Christmas wrapping, lit all the Christmas wrapping on fire, and is burnt. He was in the hospital, had it intubated in his, he had to take it through tube. And he was so disfigured, and that he's on the cover of Burn magazine. I have another one who we all know. She was a rep of mine. She's a customer now, and she had a bad addiction, crystal meth. She's very open about it, and she said she ended up at my house 4 months after I gave her a box of Juice Plus when I met her outside of one of my son's rehab center. And I didn't even recognize her. She was so beautiful. And I didn't even know who she was. She goes, "Lita, it's Chelsea from rehab." I'd never have felt compelled to relapse.
Wow.
And she had been in like 20 rehab centers, lost her kids, smoked, no job, nothing.
Yeah.
And we all have, if you're in this long enough, you have amazing stories like that. But I
Indeed.
have had everything from I sleep really good to I'm more interested in sex with my wife. So, I mean, it's just you're in long enough, you get those stories and they're heartwarming. And I think we never should feel, when you have a story like my godfather was suffering from cancer up in Park City, Utah, and I called him on some of his last days. And when he reached out to me, and I thought my mom had talked to my Uncle Joe about Juice Plus, but he said, "Lita, why didn't you ever tell me about Juice Plus?" And if you have a story like that, that just gets you in the gut.
Yeah.
You never want to ever go one day without telling somebody.
Yeah.
I just talked to a gal today who she found out her daughter had cancer, and she will not do anything natural. And I said, I was going to recommend that, but I think you need this product more than she does right now because you're really stressed out about what's going on. And she goes, "Get me on it right now."
Yeah.
So, it's like there are those opportunities that you can say something to those people, but you almost have to be in front of them.
The thing is that I really want to get here. Thanks, Alita. And that's a lot of stories. And we have stories, energy and constipation and headaches and skin rashes. I mean, the list is this long. I have figured out over my 30 some odd years, it's going to be 35 in October, but as long as Juice Plus has been around, I've probably heard 3 to 5 stories a week, 50 weeks a year from, this kind of conversation right here, I've heard without exaggerating, over 4,000 stories. You cannot, I mean, my belief is so solid. I just want to, it's like that thing. If you knew what I knew, you would be on this yesterday, right? Randy, it looked like you wanted to share something, and we've got to wrap this up because it's 6:30. So, but you had your hand up.
Yes, I'll just say very quickly, my husband had stomach issues and he was taking the chewables and he still could not take the green chewables. With the superfoods, he's able to drink it and have no issues. And I'm so excited because, that's very important to me that my spouse be on board with me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think there was Kim Bryce. You had something to say. There you are. I can't see your face. But Kim, you have a customer that you wanted to mention about?
Sorry, hold on. I'm gonna unmute myself. Just that I've been doing this a long time, but I got a referral from somebody in a BNI group. It was her father-in-law. He was diabetic. I've never met him. And he told me, this was in the beginning, he never felt better. He felt like 20 years younger. And now I think he's got to be in his 70s. It's been like 17 years. And he's still going strong and never misses a shipment.
Yeah.
And his diabetes is so under control.
Thank you, Kim.
Vicky,
So
can I say something real quick?
Yeah, go for it, Sandy.
And thank you, Kim. Thank you, everyone, for sharing this. And if you can jot down, when it's in your memory, jot down some of these. Our brains are kind of wired for the negative. So we can have all these great stories, but when we're in front of someone, it can just kind of go out the window and we can be like, oh, what if they say no? Or what if, and so keeping that in the forefront, that there are so many people that we have as a team, thousands of people we've helped over the years, right? Who are we not to share with someone that it could help? Right? Go ahead.
Thank you, Sandy. Heidi, one quickie, because I want to wrap this
Yeah,
up.
I have an idea. I'm just wondering if we can all share with our uplines. Like, I know that you know my story, and I know a lot of people on this call know my story. But I'm just curious, like Kristen and Leslie both have autoimmunes and have had amazing experience. If we had maybe on boards under specific conditions, if we had just a list of, digestion, Heidi, autoimmune, Kristen, Leslie, so that we could then go to those people and reach out for a three-way call if we needed to with a prospect.
I think that's a lovely idea. What I would offer to you is, so Sandy and I and Alita are, as NMDs, are on this call. If you're under a different NMD, it doesn't matter. You can still approach one of us. But if you box her with, your name and say, this is my story, and do it in 3 sentences, I'd be happy to compile something called stories, put it on boards and who it would be from, so that if you wanted to talk to somebody that was constipated for 43 years of her life, that would be Heidi, who no longer takes allergy pills, that you could contact Heidi and she could talk to the person and she was scared to death to take Juice Plus. We practically had to tie her up and shove it down her throat to make her take it. So, if you have somebody like that and you want to put them on a 3-way, it would be nice to know. And if you're open to doing a 3-way call. If you're not open to doing a call with somebody, then you need to let us know that. But what I wanted to challenge you with is something that Sandy said, and one other thing. I'd like to challenge all of you. If when you get off the call tonight, because you won't do it unless you do it right after you get off the call, is write down on paper with pen, don't type it, write it out, for the reason that Sandy said, 3 or 4 testimonies that you're aware of. Hopefully they're one of your customers and it can be your own testimony. But writing it down will shift the way that your brain thinks, which is what Sandy was talking about. It will take you out of the, what if they say no? What if it's a friend that's going to be stupid? What if it isn't? What if it isn't? If I have enough stories behind me, what if it isn't? So my first challenge is to write out several testimonies. That would be my first challenge. Hopefully from your own customers, yourself, your family. My second part of the challenge is, what does it feel like? This is the most important part. What does it feel like when you get a customer who calls, or you see a difference in that person because of Juice Plus? How do you feel? And I want you to stop and actually feel the feeling, feel the joy, feel the inspiration, feel the excitement, feel the wonder in what we're doing, actually stop for a moment and feel that and tie that in to those testimonies so that the next time you go to offer your Juice Plus, you feel the feels about somebody already having said yes. It's something that Chris and I used to call future vision. You have future vision, it can be happening right now. So I would challenge you to do those two things. If any of you are avoiding offer, you know what, that was cool. I don't know why I did the balloons just now. I love that. I don't know what I did. I'd like to do it again. I would really love to challenge you with those two things so that you don't avoid offering something that you know in your heart of hearts that this could be a difference in somebody's life. So that's my challenge for you tonight. And so we don't have our team doesn't, and I don't think any of the other Juice Plus teams on the Heat has a call next week, but you probably, if you're playing the bingo game, get on your call for the next 2 times. And then our Heat calls are Monday night, first call of the month. May is Alita with Brittany Myers, our new regional director. It would be fun for all of you to meet her. The second Tuesday on our team, at least, and everybody is is invited to come, is our Transformation Tuesday, which is always kind of a mindset thing. And the third Tuesday of the month is always tips and tools that Sandy and I put together. So everybody have a great week. See if you can invite anybody to the next few calls that are coming up, because there's some beauties. And thank you for being on the call. Mwah.
Thank
Good night.
you.
Love you.
Nikki.
Thank you, Nikki.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye, everybody.